God. Good morning. Good to see everyone this morning. How's everybody doing today?
Wonderful.
Great. Well, I'm glad Jordan and Miss JC is. Maybe the rest of y'all be doing good here in a little while or something. Or if you be like me, you might be doing good about 12:30, 1 o'clock, about the time to get your belly full and you get laid down and take that Sunday afternoon nap. But I'm glad to see each one of you this morning. If you're visiting with us, we're glad to have you with us this morning. And if you would, so we can have record of your visit, in the back of the pew there's a visitor's card. If you would, fill it out and hand it to me on the way out the door at the end of service this morning. And but Colossians chapter number 3 is where we're going to go back. I thought I was going to finish up this morning our series, but I'm not quite sure yet. But we might go into next Sunday also and preach another message. The Lord keeps working, and I see what God's doing through the series and how He's working in different lives and different families here. And if you don't feel the same way that I do, please let me know, and I'll pray for God to change my mind, and you pray for God to change my mind, and we'll turn it around and we'll go another direction. But Colossians chapter number 3, verses number, I'll read just for the sake of time. You know what? I'm going to read Ephesians chapter 6. Sorry. Go to Ephesians chapter 6, verse number 4. And we'll read that for our text this morning and for the sake of time. But let me tell you a little bit what's going on with my week this week. I've had a good week, don't get me wrong, physically, all that's been wonderful. But I haven't had the best of week, and to top it all off this morning, I got to church this morning, and y'all know where I always park at. I've never had anything fall on my truck. As soon as I pull in, and my antenna didn't even hit it, so you can't say it's because of that tall antenna you got on the truck. And so you can't use that as an excuse. As soon as I pull in, a limb fell on the top of my truck. The first thing I did, Miss Hilda was walking by, and she said, "There's a limb that fell." And the only thing I can think in my mind is, "Lord, please don't let me mess my truck up."
I'm sure they had Johnny's tree that Saturday. Yeah, Johnny for that.
Johnny, you missed the dead limb. So I got out and I looked. I didn't see no dent, no scratches or nothing. And I come in and Miss JC or one of them said something about, "How's your week been?" or something. I said, "It's been a week." It started Wednesday. Monday, Tuesday was good. Crazy at work. Started Wednesday. Get up, first day of deer season, to go hunt. Y'all know I'm anxious, ready. The dogs is ready to go. It's hot, so we don't get to hunt long because it's so hot. I don't want to kill my dogs because they're fat and lazy right now because they've been bent up all year. So I get about 5 miles from the hunting club, and I borrowed a trailer from one of our church members, and I got about 5 miles from the hunting club, and I had a blowout. I said, "All right." So I get on the phone. "Hey, where you at?" "Oh, I'm out of state working." "You don't me no good. Your trailer and you go." "No, I'm just joking." But so I called another buddy. He said, "I'll bring you my trailer, you can swap it out, and you can come back and fix yours, blah, blah, blah." All right, I'm telling y'all, I'm getting somewhere with all this. I'm not telling you, I don't want no pity party. I do not care. I'm just going to pick it up. I'm going to go with it. Ain't nothing to be changed about it. So, but got all that swapped out after we got done hunting. Went and got a tire, fixed that trailer. On the way to the house, I got about 6 miles from the house, and the other tire blew out on the stupid trailer. I didn't call the owner of the trailer for this one. I rode it on the rim for about 5 or 6 miles. I said, I ain't stopping. I got to go. We had orientation, and I had to get home so I could get the girls to get to school by 5:30. So, all that being said, got all that. Thursday, Friday, they went as far as I can remember. Saturday, yesterday morning, got up to go fishing. As soon as I got on 95 off of 61 going towards Walterboro, the boat trailer went like this, it rocked. And I said, "What in the world?" And I looked back in the rearview mirror, and here come the tire. I said, "Yeah, my buddy, we 11 o'clock, 11:30, that Friday night, he was texting me, "Go, I don't think we need to go out, it's supposed to be bad." I said, "That's up to you, I'll stay home and go hunt. I don't care." And he said, well, I'm coming to your house and we'll decide in the morning. I said, okay. So we decided we was going to go fishing yesterday morning. Well, I left my house at 6:15. What is an hour and 15-minute ride from my house to Edisto Island turned into a 4.5-hour trip just to get to Edisto. So I get all that, the hub messed up, I get all that fixed. We get going. All right, we're good now. Get going down 17, and I feel something. He said, what's wrong? I said, something ain't right. I looked in the other mirror, had a blowout on the other side. 4 tires in 3-4 days. I said, all right, we're going to get going. Got all that fixed. Finally got in the water at 10:30. Time we got to where we was going, we had about an hour to fish before I had to get back to go with the young adults last night. So we fished. While we was fishing, we caught the biggest shark we've ever caught. We caught like an 8-foot shark. And I said, yes, this is our redemption. We're getting blessed, all that trouble, here we go. We get the stupid thing halfway in the boat, the gas come out of the shark go right to the bottom. I done shot him with the pistol, killed the shark and everything. I mean, the shark dead. And the gas slipped down and there went the shark. This morning, I get to church, limb fell on the truck.
I'm walking in front of you.
I look. Miss Hiller don't know what's going through my head. She was probably thinking, man, you in some type of mood this morning. You're not even talking to me. I thought to myself, and I always get nervous before I preach. But this morning, that nervousness that I like to have started happening. And I started looking back and thinking on the things that had happened this week. And I started looking and wondering, and you know, you always got that smart behind that says, well, it could always been worse. Shut up. I don't want to hear none of that. I don't want to hear that. Let me have a little pity party for myself and we'll be all right. But I look at all that, and in the parking lot, I was standing up on the steps. I was looking at the top of my truck, and I looked at the tree. And I said, God, what are you doing? That nervousness inside. And no, I'm not the best person. Yes, I get angry. I get mad when things happen. Yesterday, I was ready to burn the truck, the boat, and everything. I was going to burn the truck and say, you know what? Well, you can have it all. But I got to that point, and my buddy that was with me, I just looked at him. He said, man, we've been lucky today. I said, no. I said, we've been blessed. I said, the boat didn't hit the ground. I said, we didn't flip. I said, nothing major happened. I said, we was able to fix everything that happened. And the tree fell this morning, and I looked. When I looked up, I said, God, what are you doing? And he just spoke to me. And he said, Nick, even in the worst times, even when you think everything around you is falling apart, remember the tree that I died upon.
That's right. Amen. Yeah.
And he gave me that words this morning out there. And I don't know why I said all that, for even with the message that we have this morning. Well, I do, because it teaches a life lesson. Parents, we've been talking the last 2 weeks of how not to embitter your kids, how not to make your kids mad and angry at you, and how to discipline correctly, and how to not discipline, and how to show them how to live. And last week we looked at how in making them mad by not encouraging them or showing them affection. Or the week before that, how we showed them, or how we talked about not making them mad by neglecting them and stuff. How many times does God show us things such as that and we neglect who He is? Wonder how He feels with us. All that happened, and then a tree fell, or a limb, piece of wood, fell upon my truck this morning. Nothing's wrong with my truck, I don't think. If it is, it'll be all right. It's on the top of the light, you'll see it. But all that. And this morning, I do know why he showed me that. This morning's point is not showing favoritism toward other children, with siblings, grandparents. Don't show favoritism over one or over the other. Parents, don't show favoritism over one over the other. I know little girls are usually daddies, and they get treated different than little boys do. And little boys are usually mamas, and they get treated different from the other ones, and vice versa, and all that. But this morning, parents, we can make our kids mad by showing favoritism. Do you know what God showed me along with that just now? Is that even though all that's happening, somebody out there has the same things happening to them. God don't show favoritism by allowing this one to have this and this one to have this. You say, well, why does this one have this and that one have this one? Can I tell you something? We go as far in life as we want to go. We all have the same capabilities, and we all have the same resources to get to where the other one is at. What we do and how we do it is our decisions on what we get there. So when somebody comes to me and say, well, I can't never get this, or I can't never do that, well, what are you doing to get it? You've got the same chances that person had. Why are you not getting it? And we come back to our message this morning. We see in the Word of God, if you look back over, I'm not going to turn there, but over in Genesis chapter number 37, we see a very familiar story of Joseph and Jacob. And we see that how he had all the sons, that Jacob had the sons, and Joseph was his favorite out of his 11, I think, somewhere around 12, somewhere around in there. And we see that he was his favorite, and we see that he showed, or Jacob gave Joseph the robe of many colors, and he showed him favoritism over his other sons by giving him that because of who he was. And he was the only son by Rachel, I believe, somewhere around in there. I get all their names mixed up. And so we see that he was showing favoritism, and the other brothers got mad. And if you read over Genesis 37, 41, and I think 45, somewhere around in there, you'll get the whole story of what happened with all that, and how the other brothers took Joseph, or Jacob, or whoever, took Joseph and gave him to the Ishmaelites, whatever they're called, and he sold them to them people. He didn't give them, he sold them to them people, and how they wanted to use him as a slave and all this. And then at the end of 37, I believe it is, we'll see where he was introduced into Potiphar. How he went into Potiphar's house, and how I'm just kind of putting this into my own terminology, but y'all getting the gist, and how Potiphar turned it all around. And y'all know the story of the dreams that he had, of how he said, one day y'all going to bow down to me, and his brothers got mad at him, and then his father found out about the dreams, and his father even got upset with him, that because his mother and father was going to bow down. But anyway, it goes on, and we all know the story of how his brothers came into Egypt to buy things, and Joseph started playing with them and tricking them into this and tricking them into that. And then there at the end of 41, we see that Joseph finally realized, or made known, who he was to his brothers. How he had become a great ruler, and how he become somewhat of authority, or what they threw out for loss, God used to build up for gain. And we see that all this started is because a father showed favoritism over one child. He got rid of them. The other brothers got rid of them because they was mad because their father wasn't giving them what he had gave him. And parents, can I tell you something? It may not happen right now. You may not see it right now.
But by you giving more to one child other than the other child, or treating the other child different than the other child, it will cause something on the inside of them to build and build and build over time, that it will end up causing problems between each other, between the siblings, and it will cause problems between the child and the parents by showing favoritism. Because they're always going to remember that one time when so-and-so got this, and so-and-so didn't get but this. And it's going to cause problems. You say, preacher, what are you getting to? Can I tell you that no matter what's going through, God will never show favoritism to you and I. God has already given us, can I tell you one thing? God's built for each and every one of us that's claimed Him, that is saved by His marvelous blood, that's been to Calvary, been through the cross. He's gave us each and every one a mansion built just for you and I. He's gave us all streets of gold. He's gave us all pearly gates. He's gave us all the glass sea. He's gave us all the things that heaven holds, the beauty beyond mortal eye, the things been untold. John said over in Revelations, and I don't know what all John saw except for what's recorded, but God's given us each and every one those same things. He's not showing favoritism because brother so-and-so was a better deacon than brother so-and-so, or sister so-and-so was a better teacher than sister so-and-so. Honey, we've got all the same thing, and God's not going to show favoritism over the other. And us as parents, we have an example by God to give to our children of how to teach our children, how to raise our children, how to parent our children, how to teach our children, and how to show our children to walk in godly ways. And many times there's a lot of people today here on this earth that they're showing favoritism. You can look at a family, you can look at different ones, and you can go ask a kid who's the favorite, and the brother will say my sister, or the sister will say my brother. And why, parents? Why does that happen? Why does the brother feel like that? Why does the sister feel like that? You say it's just natural. I understand it's just natural, but we should do what we can do so the other does not feel like that, and teach them all with the same fairness, the same level of respect. And we need to not show favoritism, because in the end, when they get older, it will hurt them. You say, preacher, what do you mean? Honey, look at some of your lives. It's happened here with your siblings because of favoritism.
Amen.
As a grown adult, you're still holding grudges at your family because of things that mom and daddy did. You say, preacher, that didn't happen. It did happen. I can look at the way some of you are looking at me this morning, and you know good and well I'm preaching the truth. You're holding a grudge this morning because of something happened with mom and daddy and your family. And it's embittered you. You say, what do you mean? How do you expect to teach and train your children if you're holding because of something that happened? Think of it. You know what got you where you're at. You know how the things happened and what happened, and we see what happened here. Can I tell you that your anger is doing nothing but fueling the other?
Amen.
To strive more and to do better, because they see that it's hurting you and you're letting it bother you like a little child and can't get over and get your feelings off your shoulder. You know what I want to say, off your shoulder. And you can't go on because you're letting that have that ability over you.
Amen.
You say, preacher, that don't happen. It does. It happens more than people want to see it happen. Let me ask this. How often do siblings become angry against one another because of unwise parenting? All the time. Mom tells, you're a trip, Carter. Mamas tell this daughter, you're the prettiest. And dad tells, you're the most athletic. And it goes on and vice versa. And can I add this, that while I'm here, that parents, that even though you may be separated or divorced from your kids' parents or from the other, can I tell you this, and something that irks me to the 10th degree that I just want to slap someone and say, just shut up, and is when parents of step-siblings or parents separated, divorced, vice versa, and the parents are talking about one another in front of the kids.
Amen. Amen.
I cannot stand that. You say, well, it might be worth it. I don't care if it is worth it, if they deserve it or whatever. You do not need to do it in front of your kids, because it's not a contest of who can be the most popular parent. It's a contest of co-parenting and parenting to what God would have us as parents do. You'll not catch me one time, knocking on wood. I'm flesh, I could fail. You'll not catch me one time talking bad about Cassie around the girls. You know why? One or two things are going to happen. If they're going to get to the point where they resent her, or two, it's going to get to the point where they resent me for talking. One of the two things is going to happen. And do you know what good's going to come out of that? Not a thing. You know why? Because all I'm doing is downgrading that person. And can I say this? Parents that have stepkids, honey, you took on that responsibility when you married someone that had kids. Treat them kids the same as you treat your own kids. You say, well, they're not mine. You took the responsibility of raising, helping raise those kids. Well, I don't need to raise those kids. They've got their mom and their... You're still an influence in their life. Treat them all the same.
Amen.
You know why? Because those same stepkids, if you're showing favoritism, do you know what will happen? They will grow up the same way as if you're showing favoritism over your own siblings or only over your own children. Can I tell you this? This goes for grandparents too. Y'all got grandkids. Don't show one more than the other. You know why? It's going to end up showing and causing disfusion, and it's going to cause problems. And when you show that much favoritism or favoritism over this one or over that one, do you know what's going to happen? They're going to end up not liking you. And it's going to cause problems. And they're going to become angry because of things that happen. You know what? When have you ever known God to show favoritism over one over the other? Never. You can look in Job. God said that Job's one of mine. He's a faithful man. He's a blessed man. Told the devil, you can do what you want to, but don't harm him. Don't take his life. Do what you want to. So don't tell me God shows favoritism over people. God told him, and said, Job is a blessed man. Job's an upright man. Job's one of the best. Job's not going to fail him. He's not going to give in to you because of the things that you do. God don't show favoritism. And we've got the best. I never did read the text, did I? I just thought about that. Oh well. That was a good introduction. Never mind, we'll keep on. But we see that in Job, that Job had a job. And that job was to pray for his kids every day. Had 10 of them. Every day he was to go get a sacrifice, cut it up, spread the blood upon the altar, and pray for each one by name, starting with the oldest to the youngest. That's how he did it. Job didn't pray for this, he didn't pray for that. He prayed for one specific thing, and that was his kids. He wasn't showing favoritism over this one, wasn't showing favoritism over that one. But our text here, and I'll tie it back in, Paul gives us here in Ephesians and challenges us not to embitter our kids, but also it don't go against custom standards. The way that America wants it to do. America today would not want you to pray for your kids daily. America today does not want you to have anything to do with church, with your kids. Why do you think they put all these things on Wednesday nights to keep kids and teenagers out of church and parents to kids, well, we got to have our kids acting, blah, 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 and all this and that. And they happen everything on Wednesday nights, so they don't have to be in church. But Paul says in Ephesians 6:4, and you fathers provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. That means to build them up, to bring them, to show them, to teach them, to guide them in the ways of the Lord. And that's what Job was doing. Job's job was to lead his children in the ways of the Lord. And he would get there by praying for his children and not showing favoritism. You say, preacher, why? No, I'm not saying anyone in here is showing favoritism over their kids. I am saying, though, it has happened to people in here. And I've heard about it. And they asked me, what can I do with it? There ain't nothing you can do about it but pray. Do what Job did. Put it on this altar. You say, well, preacher, I've done put it on the altar. When's the last time you put it on the altar? It says, the prayer of the righteous availeth much. The Bible says, continue to let daily in prayer and supplication and thanksgiving towards God, and that your requests may be known to God. It says daily. Not one time and leave it and let go alone. Keep praying until you see an answer. Keep praying until God shows you something. Don't stop just because you asked one time. That might be why you don't have what you got yet, because you quit praying for what you wanted or what you don't have. Maybe you need to keep praying for it. Maybe you need to keep doing it, something. We get on that parents, instead of developing bitterness in them, parents must aim to train their children. And we have that example in of Job, how he prayed for his kids, even though everything that was going on, his family was gone, his animals was gone, Job was still doing all that. And we have the picture of a father here that was praying. But we need to aim to train our lords in the instructions of train our children in the instruction of the Lord. That's by showing them this Bible. That's by giving them to God when they're young, by bringing them to God's house, by doing everything you can do with them inside the church, by living the way that a parent needs to live in front of their kids, by doing the things that they need, by talking the way that they need to hear, by doing the things that they need to see. And we need to remember that that is what our job as parents is. Do you know why? I've said it before, you said it, and I'll say it again. If we do not teach them godly ways, the world will not. How true is that? The devil is there for one reason, and that's to destroy, to kill everything that he can. If he sees a hole somewhere, he's going to slip right in it. And going to do what he can do to make a mess of everything that he can make a mess of. We go on and we can look and we can see that a lot of kids in America looks at Christian parents and they're so hard on us and they do not like the way that we parent because of our godly principles, our godly standards. We see this by statistics. If you can show them between the ages of birth and 15, you tell the kids what they're going to do. And between 15 and 18, they'll show you what you told them. But now we've got a generation that's coming up, that 12-year-olds, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-olds are running the house. They tell the parents what they're going to do, and the parents sit back. Okay. Let's go get it. You're gonna cry and feel like go get your candy or go get your ice cream? Let's go get you some ice cream or you're hush. Parents, that ain't the way to do it. You know, as we preached last week, that's going to do nothing but make them mad when they don't get their way when they get older. We've got to teach them things. We've got to show them. And America says we're mistreating our kids by not letting them go do this or not letting them go that. Can I preach for a second? And can I say, parents, you're not mistreating your kids by telling your kids who they can, who they cannot hang out with, or where they go and when they can go. You're not mistreating your kids by being a parent. I wish some more parents was in here this morning, but I've got a lot of grandparents in here this morning, so we're going to just preach and somebody will see it somewhere along the way. But you're not mistreating your kids when you tell your kids you're not going to this school function, you're going to go to church. You're not mistreating your kids when you tell them you're not going to that party because of the things that they're due. You're not hanging out with that person because of the reputation that person has. You're not mistreating your kids by covering them and keeping them in the house of God. America has put a picture on the church and said you're mistreating your kids if you don't allow them to do school activities during these times, or if you don't allow your kids to go and live and learn. No, you're not mistreating your kids if you're protecting your kids by the house of God. One of the safest, well, I used to be, one of the safest places, I will say this though, one of the safest places is to be right in the middle of God's will. I can't say the church anymore because there's idiots that come in and just start blasting for no reason. But the safest place is right in the middle of God's will. We see that Paul tells us that we're to bring them up and nurture them in the ways of the Lord. Continue daily. Pray. You say, preacher, I've done all that. I raised my kids the way they needed to be raised. And when they got older, they went and did this. They went and did that. Can I remind you of a Bible verse? Where sin abounds, grace abounded much more. Can I tell you that Job made the sacrifice, put the blood over, and prayed? Can I ask you this, parents? When's the last time you pleaded the blood upon your kids? You say, well, my kid's out in sin, out in the world. When's the last time you prayed for them? When's the last time you brought them to the altar and said, God, here they are. God, I'm pleading the blood on them. You say, well, I've done that a few times. As I read a minute ago, the Bible says continue daily in prayer. You want something to happen? Pray that God sends it to happen.
Amen.
You want something to change? Pray that God changes it. The only way for a child of God to effectively let God know that they are serious about a situation is to continuously pray about that same situation until you see answers, or until God shows you different. One of the two. God don't give more, or don't give unless we ask. Unless He knows that we're serious about something. In closing, Mike, I'm done. Showing favoritism. God does not show favoritism over one versus the other. We see many times in the Bible things happen time and time and time again. I mean, look at Moses, everything that happened to Moses. Look at Paul, who he was, and what God brought him to and where he is. What's different between them and us reaching that spiritual ground? Nothing but us. That's the only thing different. It's us. God's not going to show favoritism. As parents, we're to not show favoritism. We're not to have a favorite out of our kids. Because in the end, it will make them mad and angry with each other and possibly at you. Paul says we're to show them, to bring them up in the way of the Lord. We're to teach them, to train the child in the way of the Father, and not to provoke them so they go the opposite way. this morning. I don't know what God's going to do next week. I don't know where we're going to go. But this morning, as we're possibly closing out our series, we started the series with All Families Has Problems. Wives, submit to your husbands. Husbands, love your wives. Children, obey your parents. And parents, how not to embitter your kids. I know where some's at this morning. Some's working. Some had to take emergency trip, not be here, and some's off in other places. But this morning, as we've been over the last 6-7 weeks of doing this series on the family, God's touched in God's Word. I feel that He has. But I don't think the message has been implied. Or let me rephrase that. The message has been implied. I don't think the message has been as receptive as God wants them to be. You say, preacher, what do you mean? Our families are very important. We need to cover our families in the blood of Jesus every day. I don't pry no one. I don't come to you and fool you. But in order for our families to stay, and in order for us to protect our kids, we must have the blood of Jesus. We must pray for them. We must help them. And with all that being said, if you're willing and you're able this morning, I'm going to open the altar up as usual. We're not going to sing nothing. We're going to pray in a moment. I'm going to open the altar up for anyone who would like to come and grab their family and pray for their family. And just plead the blood upon their life. You know why? Because if we don't plead the blood upon their life, as I said a minute ago, the world may just plead the blood out of them. What's going to happen? If we as a church don't stand up and take back what was founded. America's in a turn right now for the great. God's doing something He's not done. I watch the news, some. I see things happening, but yet I see the church in the background coming back up the hill. Slowly, but it's coming. Do you know how to keep that? Parents, grandparents, you've got to give your kids and your grandkids to the Lord. You've got to cover them in prayer. You've got to pray for that hedge of protection in, on, and around their lives. That's the only way we're going to get to where God has us to go, is through prayer. Congaree, the only way we're going to get to what God has for us is to pray for God to end up showing it to us. And for each and every one of us to have and to receive what He has for us. Everyone standing all head bowed and eyes closed.